Hi, my name is Ken Aston. I wrote a microbiome prescription website, and as one of the medical practitioners who uses the site regularly, dropped me an email this week. You're constantly improving and changing things, which is correct. To me, it's an exploration to try to come to better understanding and better solutions to issues with the microbiome. Since last week, I've had two good long discussions. One with Dr. Cecile Zardine in South Africa, who wrote a protocol which I used back in 2000 to go into remission, and I've used subsequently when there been severe flare, as well as the folks over at the Remission Biome Project, which I'm doing now. So some of the people there, often with the microbiome before they started using antibiotics, and then subsequent analysis of the microbiome. And basically, the long and the short of it is, it's working, at least in terms of short term. Long term is a different issue. That's something that will take time to determine. Okay, now, from those discussions with questions asked, I ended up making some changes, adding some new features, all of which I think you'll probably be interested. First, some feature is real simple, which is we have a lookup modifier. So if you go in here and you want to look at something to modify, for example, let's suppose you are thinking about using oregano. One second. Just basically go up to the lookup modifiers, type in what you're looking for. Don't get a percentage marks on both sides because sometimes it's in different context. And then we have it, and you just click it and you go over and you get the usual list of things. And what you now get is the impacts on probiotics. So if you take oregano, this is what the impact is. It's going to reduce all of these probiotics. If you're taking those probiotics, should you be taking them when what you're doing is one of the supplement is going to kill off the other supplement? Does not make financial sense. Also, it means end of the day, you may find nothing helps. Of course it doesn't help. You are basically putting two enemies together in a room and asking them to cooperate. They're not. If you look at something like lactobacillus, hey, oregano increases lactobacillus. So if you're doing it, then taking lactobacillus with it is good. How about bifido? Bifidobacteria increases. So those two things increases, other ones do not. You can go do the same thing, and let's take a look up something more like, why don't we look at proton pump inhibitors? Many people are taking that, being prescribed by your MD, and we see, okay, it increases. What does it decrease? In this case, the only thing it does, it increases the free bacteria we have, and we can ask a question, how about bifido? We have no information about bifido. We do see lactobacillus there. So in other terms, it is a good suggestion. Actually, Cecile Zardine makes a suggestion of proton pump inhibitors while following her protocol, which is an off-label list. Let's take a look at one more. We'll go back in here, and we are going to try, let's see, let's take something like magnesium. There we have magnesium. And what does increases? Oh, it does reduce some. And again, if we click here, we have everybody that increases, and we see it only decreases two particular things. So Colostrum Proteicum and its sibling. So that is basically it. First main purpose of this feature was added for the biome project going on for chronic fatigue syndrome patients. But I also realized that from some questions coming back from other people, that it also applies to supplements, because you can take non-compatible combinations of supplements, and the net result is it's not particularly helping you. Particularly, this is specifically for probiotics. It covers everything which we have information from. If this is a request, I can actually add a link so that people can go and see all the studies that the data is coming from. For the moment, I'm omitting it to keep life simple. And that's basically it. It is straightforward. So that's feature number one, which is don't waste your money doing two supplements which contradict each other, one of which being, of course, probiotics. So does this supplement work with the probiotics you're taking, or does it hurt the probiotics that you're taking? By the way, all the items here, if you are trying to get more information, if you go over into wherever it is, there, retail probiotic mixtures by species only. All the items on that list are over here, so you can, if something is particularly of interest, you can go and find out what product is available at the retail level. Okay, so that's step number one. Step number two are the additions of indicators to see whether or not your microbiome is dysfunctional or not. And there's actually three ones which are becoming more and more dominant in terms of my analysis. Ones which seems to be more reliable than other indicators or measures. And the recent studies which have used them on, they have been. So let's go and take a look at them. The first edition is on the My Profile tab. And before I had, in fact, it's still there, a nice table which Tamara over at the Biome Project asked for me to do it as a chart. In fact, I've gone and done a nice chart so you can see where we have a abnormal amount. Normal amount in this should be 10, and you can see we have here 25% here. More importantly, up at the top, it gives what's called chi-square, which is a measure of the degree of abnormality that the data has. And then it gives so basically it's saying, is this a normal gut microbiome, or is this a one in distress? The matching number is 41. The probability of significance is 0.9999999. So many nines, you almost want to say good night. Bad joke. But basically, that is the number. Now, let's go over and look at, wherever we go. Let's go over here and look at this sample. And we have it there. And we have a different number. And you can see the abnormality sitting there. And if we go to a different one, we'll see numbers, and the goal is to get this one down probably below 15. So this is indicator number one. Indicator number two is when you click health analysis, and right here is we have the anti-inflammatory percentile. In other words, how many of the bacteria in your gut are known to be anti-inflammatory. And I list here actually 4 of them, which are all available as probiotics, and there are others, but I took create a computation based on the numbers of those, and then once I have numbers calculated for everybody, I calculated the percentile ranking. So in this case, at this point in time, it was pretty bad. Let's go back to the first one. And it was better there, not much better. Let's go over to let's take a look at this one. Hey, it has improved. So this person has improved in terms of there. And if you actually go back to my profile, we still see the number is high. So you can still see abnormality, which is classic for chronic fatigue syndrome. So that is the second one, which is clicking the health analysis. and you have this magic number showing up. Last set of numbers are over on the research features, and we have three measures which are used in many papers. Shannon diversity, Simpson diversity there. And the one which seems to be best is the Shannon diversity. Higher the number, usually the better. It means a better, well-balanced microbiome. So that one was the one where we had an improvement. Let's go back to there where we saw other numbers were bad, and it was bad there. Let's take a look at the latest one. And we have very good numbers there. So we have three numbers, each making indication of the general health of the microbiome. None of these are indicative of what to do in terms of correcting it, but they are indicators of whether or not there are problems. So in other words, it is, have I improved from time A to time B? Subjective judgment is always nice, but often people's subjective judgment is to put it mildly, complicated by having a poor memory, and so the result is often they don't think there's improvement. These three numbers, at least one of those three should improve. Often, also, all three of them improve. So basically, Shannon Diversity Index goes up is one, which you want to look for. The other one is the chi-squared you want to see going down. And the last measure is your inflammatory bacterial score you want to go up. So in this case, we have two of those measures definitely showing improvement, one not showing improvement. Keyword is there was change. The anti-inflammatory going up generally means less symptoms. The Shannon diversity score going up usually indicates a more well-balanced, and the last one, the moderate profile, is actually degree of randomness of it, and basically it indicates that there is still some ongoing problems, because you should have these numbers all being relatively flat, which I found in some people definitely happens. Okay, so that's it. That's my short and long of it. So key feature I want to point out is when you do lookup of a modifier, like let's say we go for vitamin B12. Let's do a quick search for that one. We don't want that one. What we want is vitamin B12. That's the one we want. And when we go down here, we see some bad news. Guess what? It reduces bifidobacterium. What does it increase? Oh, it doesn't increase anything. It decreases everything, which is a bit on the bad news side. To be honest, I was not expecting that. So it means taking vitamin B12 at the same time that you are taking probiotics is likely a financially irresponsible decision, especially if you have a limited budget. Okay, that's it. Use it, try it. Again, if needed, I can put a link here which will connect up to all of the studies used to come to this conclusion. So that's basically it. Have fun and enjoy the feature.